Welcome to the fentanyl capital of the world, San Francisco, California, here in the zombie apocalypse. And today's guest, all the way from New York, Troy, New York. He is a Bay Area transplant who ran away years ago. Here he is, Josh Ellis.
That's me. I'm Josh Ellis, but I always thought Troy, New York was the fentanyl capital of the world. I'm very surprised to find that it's San Francisco, I guess.
Well, now that you moved to Troy, New York, it might be in Troy, New York. The fentanyl might have traveled with you.
The usage dropped significantly in San Francisco when I left.
You'll be surprised. There's no way Troy, New York is out fighting the fentanyl capital of the world. San Francisco might not be number one, but I say it's at least in the top 5 right now.
It's
because we always got LA, New York, and then maybe, I don't know, Miami, maybe Chicago, Philadelphia. But hey, you can't compete with our fentanyl, son.
That's per capita. But if you're looking individual and just comparing individual to individual, like if you're just comparing me to you, then Troy, New York has like 100% times more fentanyl use than San Francisco. Unless you started using fentanyl recently and I didn't hear about it.
Well, where exactly is Troy, New York? Like, how far is it from New York City?
It's about 3 hours. Do you know Carl Sagan?
Yeah, the writer, right?
Yeah. He lived around here. It's in upstate New York. It's it's a beautiful spot. People talk about vacationing here. You know the guy who wrote Moby Dick?
Yeah.
He lived, he's dead now. All these people I'm talking about are long dead. Like 20 minutes away, you can go visit his old apartment.
You know, because I ride on these new buses that were built where you used to work. I didn't even realize you moved from that area.
Did you think I was still building them?
I think they're still there. Yeah, what's the name of Gilded or what's the name? Gilliam. Yeah, Gilliam. They build buses where I live. All the county buses come from Gilliam.
Yeah.
And I was
the ones around here are from Gillig too.
I was so excited. I'm like, I'm sitting in a bus that Josh built, but you don't work there anymore.
I do that too. Sometimes I see a bus on the side of the road and like I know how to open the flap, to get to the engine. And so I walk up and I open it up and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just checking this out. This is probably a bus that I built." They don't like that too much.
No, I think so. I mean, so what are you doing in New York? What brought you out there?
My wife. My freaking wife. She tricked me. She swears that she brought it up before we got married that we were going to have to move to New York eventually. And I don't remember any of that. I just woke up one morning and she was like making plans. She was like, "Okay, I guess we can move this July." And I was like, "Oh, I guess if you say so." If I said it, I said it. And I'm a man of my word. You know me. And so really, it's just my wife's family. And I was looking, I don't like to settle in a place for too long. And so I was itching to leave California anyway. And this is where my wife wanted to go. So that's why I came up here. I didn't follow anything other than family,
Everybody I know moved to Texas, but you moved to like New York. What's up with that? Why not Texas?
Texas, been there, done that.
We did a
Not always
road
cracked up.
trip. Remember our road trip? We took a road trip.
Yeah.
We took a
Oh
road
man,
trip to Austin.
I think about that sometimes. I still have that same car, and sometimes when it gets really hot, I can still smell our trip, and so I'm like, oh yeah, we went to Texas together. I forgot all that, and I had to drive the whole time. The plan was you were going to share some of the driving, but I remember the first time you got to drive, you got onto the freeway and this giant semi truck was coming and we were going to collide and you were like you just looked at me and you're like, "What should I do, dude?" And I was like speed up or slam on the brakes or something. And we got off in the next exit and I didn't that was after you lost your license or you stopped renewing your license, I guess. So you stopped driving anyway.
No, I don't have
And
a
you were never
license
the best
anymore.
driver, I remember. And
Yeah,
then I guess the practice that you stopped, really made a difference. And so I had to drive the whole rest of the trip.
we should do it again.
Yeah, I would do it again.
I have friends in Austin now. I got friends in Austin. You got to come back. We got to go back.
Yeah. They could drive to California and then drive you to Austin. Do they do stand up? Because they're missing out if they don't go to California.
Oh yeah, no, they came from here. Like, I got a couple of friends. I got like 3 friends that moved to Texas. 2 of them because they went back to family money. Another one because she's good looking. I'll just go to Texas.
You said she's good looking and that's why she went to Texas?
She's too good looking. She's
Like,
too
yeah,
good
fuck
looking
the
for
Bay
Cali,
Area.
yeah?
There's a lot of people here who look better than me.
I
But if I go to
know.
Texas, I'll be like number one.
How many kids you got? You got kids now.
Yeah, I got 2 kids.
You got 2 kids, huh?
Yeah.
I knew somebody was gonna get you pregnant one day. I knew at all my friends. I'm like, this guy. I'm not even sure why he's not married yet. I
should have
expected
listened
you
to
to be
you.
married with 5 kids by now.
Yeah, I should have listened to you. I'm probably gonna have more. I'm stupid. What can I say?
You haven't got yourself fixed yet, have you?
No.
My dad got fixed after me.
Wait, say again. I couldn't hear that.
My dad got fixed after I was born.
Oh, okay. No, that's not gonna be on my end. If anybody gets fixed, it's my wife. Because, I can't tell the future, but I might need some of my ammo someday,
Yeah, because
So,
he got remarried, my dad, and he told me one day he always wanted a daughter, right? Well, it's too late. You got yourself fixed. What are the odds
you
my
gonna do
parents'
that?
marriage wasn't going to work out? You could have asked me when I was 2 days old. I'd be like, nah, this marriage isn't working out.
That's an easy procedure to fix though. Like I think you just look at it's like a YouTube thing. You look it up. I could undo a vasectomy.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
not hard.
I'll tell my dad you're willing to go do it. I'm willing to do that to him. Yeah. So you don't do comedy anymore, do you?
No, not a lot. I write down jokes and stuff. And I tell the jokes. I'll even, I'll slip it in like it's the spur of the moment, when I'm with family or something and they think I'm really witty, but really I'm just meticulous and I still write stuff down. Although since we've been talking again, I've really wanted to, but the scene here is awful. There's not a good stand-up scene here. I'm pretty close to Albany, and there's a little bit going on in Albany, but there's not a lot. But I was talking to one of my buddies who runs like an orchard, and they have a restaurant on the inside and like a really nice performance area on the outside. And he was thinking about starting up an open mic anyway. And so I've been nudging him in that direction. I would do it again if I could get on in this place.
You should be a
Nowhere
host.
else. Really.
You,
There's not a
you,
lot.
you should host the open mic.
Yeah, I floated that by him too.
Yeah, if you got any jokes you want to try, send them to me. I perform every Friday at Cal's in North Bitch.
Yeah. What else do you do? What other venues do you do?
So far I'm only at Cal's. It's every Friday. I did so well Friday. Somebody was gonna book me. I kind of lucked out though. I feel bad because Stephen Ferris was on, and he kind of bombed. He talked about toothbrushes for like 5 minutes.
You could have saved it.
I tried to save him. I was heckling him, but he wasn't listening. So he
Uh,
kind of bombed. But the thing is, he's afraid of cancel culture. So his jokes are about deodorants or toothbrushes because he thinks nobody's going to cancel me if I talk about toothbrushes, right? Except canceling
can't
his
play it
gigs,
safe.
right? So yeah, so
Yeah.
I kind of ripped on him and, you know, but I did
You
pretty
can't do
well.
that.
I talked about the sub. Yeah, because
No.
one of my neighbors, she told me that she survived the Titanic. She's like 140 years old though, but she looks like she's 90. So I still fucked her. You know, she's a gilf.
You have to. I wouldn't fuck a 90-year-old that looks like a 90-year-old, but a 140-year-old looking that good, she deserves it.
She's a gilf.
Did you invite her onto the sub to go visit the Titanic again?
No, I would
You
though.
made it this long. You got to be lucky.
You
You're
know,
probably gonna survive.
thank God there wasn't women on the sub because we didn't have enough lifeboats for all the women. You know. I know they're bad jokes, but my other one was if my parents were billionaires, I might try and talk them into going down a sub somewhere. You know, like my parents were billionaires. Like, come on, dad. Come on, mom. Just go in
Egg them on
there.
to
Just get
all
in there.
the
Huh?
walking the line, dangerous things. Yeah, go on into space. Get on that rocket.
My parents aren't stupid like that. They wouldn't do that stuff. I would though. I would. I would. But the thing is that you can't even buy a sub. I didn't even realize it. You can't buy a sub.
Why?
You can't buy a submarine because their submarines are regulated. You know? Can you imagine if
build a
everybody had
submarine?
huh?
Don't nobody gonna stop me from building one.
Well, that's what they did. They built it. But legally you can't they should have bought one. Like that's why it's a piece of shit. You know?
Yeah.
They should got like a Toyota sub or something.
Oh man, I want to talk some more about some of your jokes because I remember when I left the Bay Area at the height of my success. I just needed to change. You kept telling every time you told the joke about how your last name is 13 letters long. Do you still tell that joke?
Yeah, I tell it once in a while. My last name is 13 letters long and it matches my 13 inches. You know, and people ask me like, Chris, how do you got 13 inches? You only got 5-inch feet. That's because God used the extra skin on my dick.
You don't look at the feet, you look at the person's last name and how they spell it.
Yeah, but you know, I got small feet. Like I'm currently wearing size 8 shoes. You know, my
I
dick
never
is
noticed
my
because
dick
the
is
rest
bigger
of
than
you,
my shoe size. I got like
I've
10
never
inch.
noticed your feet because the rest of you covers up that view.
Paul's looking at my feet now. Paul's looking at my feet. He's like, no wonder I didn't invite him to gay pride. He's got small feet. He's got small feet.
Well, do gay men enjoy big feet?
I don't know. I got a fat ass though. I thought gay men liked a fat ass.
Yeah, you do.
I got a fat ass, don't I? What about you? What are you drinking? You're drinking coconut water, aren't you?
Arizona iced tea.
Arizona.
I think you're talking to me.
You're going all out. Do you live in is your house like haunted or it looks like one of those haunted houses you live in?
Like for like a Halloween haunted house
You live like
that you pay money to get into?
it looks like you live in a house like the Amityville horror movie or something.
No, I'm down in the basement right now. This is my workshop. I make whips, by the way. I don't know if you knew this about me. I make Indiana Jones style bullwhips, and so I do that down here. Here's the this is some strands for a whip. This is all leather right here.
Dude, why didn't you tell me you could have sent me a bunch of we could have set up a table at Gay Pride. We could have sold your
Maybe
whips,
next year.
dude.
Maybe next year.
You made whips.
Yeah.
Who are you whipping?
What?
What do you whip with? Who are you gonna whip
Who
with?
are you whipping?
Who you whipping?
Oh, I don't whip people. My family I come from a long line of whipping people. But this day and age, you can't get away with something like that.
Let me see you with your whip. Bring out your whip.
Hang on, there's one right next to me. I can't do any whipping. Oh, I probably could do some whipping down here. This is what I make nowadays.
And what is it? What's the name of that kind that Indiana Jones? It's not a bolo. What is it called?
It's just considered an American style bullwhip.
Okay.
And then it became famous. The whip maker who made them, David Morgan, was just making American style bullwhips, and then Indiana Jones in the movie needed a whip, and so they bought from him, and so now they're considered literally Indiana Jones style bullwhips.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but the American style is shorter handle, thicker handle, and really that's it. That's the only thing that makes it an American style.
Yeah, you gotta send me a couple of them. I'm gonna sell them for you. I know a lot of
If
people.
you sell them for me, yeah, I would do that.
How much are they each?
They're a pretty penny. I started 6-foot whips, and that's $350, and then it goes up $50 per foot after that. But they last forever, and the materials are expensive too.
What's the longest whip you've ever made?
12-foot.
12-foot.
Yeah, and that one's not too easy for me to handle. Some guys like them that long, and like some people do stunts with like 20 feet long whips. But I never mess with that.
What do you use that for? Godzilla? You're fighting Godzilla? Well, you need a 12-foot whip.
Yeah, just to show off, I guess.
Is it for shows?
It matches my 12-inch long dick, dude.
Yeah, you actually could have branded some with either his podcast name or our studio name, and we could have had him out there at Gay Pride.
Oh man, that'd be so cool. Remind me, like the month before next year, I'll get some out to you. Actually, I got one. This one is this a Gay Pride whip or what? Look at this one.
Hello.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
I'm telling you.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, now we just lost Peoria, Josh.
Oh no.
You should give him out as wedding gifts.
We're
Like,
live, are we?
somebody,
Yeah, we're live. We're live on 4 different streaming networks. We're currently live on. We want to thank viewers on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Africa TV.
Shit. And everybody in Peoria watches this and listens to it?
Yeah, I was kidding about the Peoria part. That's an old joke.
Only
That's an old broadcaster.
only Richard Pryor's family's watching right now in Peoria. So what, you made whips and you don't even live in Texas anymore. What's up with that?
Yeah.
What made you decide to start building whips?
One thing's got nothing to do with the other, I guess.
Except for
It's
the
all
fact you like
ranches
to
and
whip
stuff.
people.
No, I always loved having a whip, and then like 5 years ago or something, the whip that I had since I was a kid broke, and I didn't know anything about how much whips were. I didn't know anything about whips. I looked to buy one, and I was like, God damn, these things are expensive. And so I looked into what it cost to make one, so I thought I'd give that a try. And there's something about it that's a whole lot of fun. And then I couldn't stop. But my wife was like, you gotta stop or else you're paying too much, And so I started an Etsy shop with the idea that I would only make them if I sold them. And it snowballed up. And now I've always got 2 or 3 orders going. And so I always got a reason to make one.
So, like with your comedy, your work pays for your addiction.
That's right.
I mean, I need one because, I got a lot of people doing fentanyl around me. I need to whip them. Like, bah!
Yeah, you can.
Say no to drugs, bitch. Bah! Bah! I need a whip.
They do it that conspicuously in front of you that you can stop it in time. Like,
Well, I live in a senior community, so once those people, sometimes you just gotta whip them, They don't know where they're at. You gotta whip them and stuff.
yeah. You're getting on up there. I didn't realize how old you were to be living in a senior community.
I'm 51.
He's dating.
No, you're not 50-something.
I'm 51. I turned 51 this year.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I remember saying the same thing 10 years ago, I guess, when we met. You were like, I'm 41, dude.
I'm 41.
I was like, What the fuck? You still look like a high school student.
Well, people used to tell me that you still look like you're in your 30s. Now people are telling me you still look like you're in your 40s. So I moved up 10 years.
But you're still living with your mom, is that right?
Yes, I'm still in with my roommate, but as soon as you give me that whip, things are gonna change around my house. Damn it!
You're a good son.
It's going to be a role reversal.
I should do that for an open mic. Bam! You know what one idea I was thinking about, like getting like a drone to film me on stage. I thought about getting like a bird drone just to film
Why
me.
a drone?
Like a drone.
Yeah, but why a drone? Why not just a stand or something?
Because it's cooler, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like,
But you got the audience distracted. You want them focusing on the prime time. You want them, on the edge of their seats listening to your rich, awesome comedy.
Don't even talk shit. I will fly to New York and whip the shit out of you myself.
Or just get that drone over their head. Be like, when someone starts to heckle you, get the drone right to them, start buzzing them.
Yeah. In fact, in a couple weeks, I think Duat's doing some special. I think Duat learned that if you tell anybody you're doing a special at their place, they actually kiss your ass, you know? He doesn't do regular shows. He just does specials now.
Oh, that reminds me of something else I wanted to bring up. I want to make sure, because there's so many things. I miss you guys so much. Do you talk to Duat Mai still?
Yeah, for sure. That's who he was just talking about, is Dwight.
Yeah, Duat's,
Oh, okay.
Duat's doing a special at Kel's in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know. And I haven't heard any of it because there's no way for me to unless I wanted to purchase the CD. And Duat was the one who taught me, if you know a comedian, you don't pay money for it. But were you there at the special, or have you heard it or anything?
No, it's coming up, I believe.
It's coming up in 2 weeks.
Oh, then I'm thinking of his album recording. Didn't he record an album?
Yeah, he recorded that, but I guess the owner of the bar took it as ransom.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
I'm not sure. He said something about the audio that they think we owe money. They want money for the audio.
Wow.
I'm not even. This is not Netflix they're dealing with. This is. I think this is some porno company they're dealing with, like YouPorn Comedy. He got signed for the YouPorn Comedy channel. I don't know, but now he's doing another special at Kel's. We're gonna charge him extra for the audio if he wants audio. He never said he wanted audio. I thought he was just gonna do it like lip syncing, right? Seriously, he said that they won't give him the audio or something. Like,
That sucks.
we're not gonna give you an audio.
Like, well, you didn't want it, did you? It's not important, is it?
Nah, Charlie Chaplin doesn't need audio. You know, Benny Hill didn't need audio to be funny. Why do you?
And half the time when we were doing open mics, all we would do is watch Duat like through the window from outside, and that was still pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. He said that he called me offensive. He said that I used the racial slur on him. I don't know. I watch a lot of Vietnam War films. Who knew that word was bad? You know what I mean?
Which word was it in
The
particular?
G word.
Oh, no.
I said the G word.
The G word.
The G word.
And G, of course, stands for...
you don't know. So if they're Asian, it's always in the war films. Yeah, that would be an ethnic slur. That would be the Asian version of an N-word almost. You don't know what it is? I can't say it because
I was just kidding. I was trying to get Chris to say it.
we'll get dropped.
So far, I've been accused in like 3 different languages of using racial slurs. I mean, 3 of them. And my first language is Spanish. Nobody ever says I use racial slurs in Spanish. I think it's your fault the brainwash went down. After you left, the brainwash closed.
Yeah.
It's all your
And
fault.
I knew that would happen. I knew it would happen. They asked me not to. Tony Sparks.
Yes.
Was like, you can't leave, brother. Don't leave.
Yeah, I noticed you have your guitar behind you. You still play, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I still play. I thought about like when I left stand up is when I started bringing that on stage with me, but I never did that on stage too much.
No, just a little.
Yeah.
You should write a song. I could see you being a Christian preacher.
Say it again.
You could be a Christian preacher or something.
Do I look like a Christian preacher? Do I look like a goddamn Christian preacher to you?
Yeah,
In
you.
that shirt. Not.
I feel like I
No.
look that way a lot. Anytime I would go to a stand-up scene, people think obviously I look Christian because you just said it, but I also look like a cop. I feel like I get that vibe a lot. People just assume that I'm trying to bust somebody for drinking underage or something. And I'm just here to do my art, baby.
Well, I heard you were like DEA living on the boat, like in Miami Vice. Weren't you, when you were living in your boat, weren't you DEA or something? Or
No.
no?
The DEA would come and visit us because of all the trips we would take down south and back.
Jeez.
How many trips did you make out? Anything illegal?
Every week. And I can't answer that question.
Were you bringing back illegal immigrants or?
We would go down to Chile and we would import immigrants. Yeah, remember the miners that got trapped in the well or the?
You brought a bunch of Haitians back or?
Yeah, we half of them their make-a-wish when they thought they were dying down there was to go to the United States, and me and my dad happened to be in the Pacific Ocean that far down south. We said, hop on board, guys, come on up. We took them, and we didn't ask what they were carrying with them, but apparently it was a lot of cocaine, and so that's when the DEA started paying us visits on board. So I was never part of that. As a matter of fact, I tried to flaunt it that we were under pressure, but people just thought that was part of the cover, you know?
Well, there is a lot of cocaine in that area because that's where the ships are. Like, if you want to take a ship, before the railroads, if you wanted to go from one part of the country, you would have to go through that area. So yeah, there's a lot of cocaine down there, but like, there's nothing wrong with bringing cocaine in America. It's just the fentanyl. The cocaine is allowed. Mushrooms. Are you doing any mushrooms?
Oh, I'm doing hella mushrooms. I took some right before the show. I mean, right before this interview.
Dude, mushrooms are like blowing up these days.
They're doing what these days?
Mushrooms are everywhere in the Bay Area. They're like blowing up.
Yeah, I bet they are.
Like everybody's on mushrooms.
What's that?
Everybody I know is on mushrooms.
Well, yeah, it's an awesome culture and they're awesome to do, obviously. I'm surprised. I was looking up laws about mushrooms, and California is like one of the few states that explicitly prohibits buying mushroom spores if somebody wanted to grow them. Most other places, they're legal because they don't have psilocybin in them. But California, of all places, and Ohio, I think, there's only 2 states that explicitly prohibit buying spores also, which is a surprise because people are going to do mushrooms anyway, you know?
Well, and it's legal to do mushrooms now in California.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole state?
Yes, and they sell them at cannabis clubs in Oakland, California.
Yeah, you can buy them legally these days. DMT,
awesome.
mushrooms. You got to come back. I mean, you got to come back. Get back.
You know what? I'll wait a year because there's a bill in the New York Senate or in the New York Congress. I don't know if it's the Senate or anything, but to legalize all kinds of hallucinogens, but mushrooms is one of them. And if they decline it, I'll say New York's not my state. I'll come back.
You need to come back.
Damn.
I told you nobody's going to find the dead bodies you guys buried, you union people.
We were on mushrooms when we buried it. So
We actually went hiking on mushrooms, remember? We went hiking on... We went hiking... Yeah, we went
That was
hiking.
so much fun. The only time I bet you would ever go on a hike is when there's drugs involved. You're like, No way, dude. I'm not gonna go on a hike. Mushrooms? Yeah, I'll do whatever you want to, dude.
Yeah, I never hike, but give me some mushrooms. I'll go hiking somewhere.
And you were like doing more than you were like clambering over rocks and climbing trees. All these things you would never expect to see Chris Gabakasi.
I was all into it.
I should have taken some pictures. I can't believe we don't have photographic evidence that even happened.
Well, no, because that's illegal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was illegal back then.
Well, not video of you eating the mushrooms, just pictures of you out in nature.
You have an intro to your podcast where you and I are holding a bag of mushrooms.
I just want to say actually I had some breaking news. I'm moving to Jamaica and I'm doing mushroom clinics for like 5,000 a day. I will do mushrooms with you for $5,000. I would lead you on your journey, on your mushroom journey. It's very lucrative. I'm starting up a mushroom clinic in Jamaica, of all places. Huh?
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I was watching CNN. They had a whole program of this one guy wanted to stop drinking, so he went to Jamaica and did mushrooms just to stop drinking. And he stopped drinking. He's like, the mushroom told me not to drink. I'm not going to drink anymore. I was like, huh?
You know Ron White, the comedian Ron White?
Yeah, I almost saw him. He was in Vegas during Christmas. I was down there. I almost went to, huh?
Did you see him?
No, I didn't see him. I got tired. Went to my hotel room.
Oh, that's what you do in Vegas. You get tired and go to your hotel room.
Hell yeah!
But he quit drinking, doing ayahuasca, tripping off of ayahuasca.
Yeah, I saw him talking about that on some podcast. I think it was Two Bears, One Cave.
Ayahuasca. I've never done ayahuasca. Huh? I've never done ayahuasca. Have you done it before?
No, I would. I totally would, but I'm not going to go out of my way to find it.
Why not?
You know what? Yeah, fuck yeah. Why not? I got a computer right in front of me. I can get ayahuasca delivered to my house, I bet.
You're not even union anymore, are you? You can do drugs.
Actually, I do know that it takes 2 ingredients to make, and I bet anything you could order both of those ingredients.
What are they?
Legally, just make it yourself.
Is it like half a pound of Iowa and the other pound of Kowalska?
Yeah.
Kowalska.
That's how they name everything that they make. They just break apart the ingredients names and they shove it all together.
They give it a fancy name and sell it to us. Like, I got a new drug. A friend of mine, he got a job driving like trucks, big ass trucks. He said he can't do any more weed. He's just gonna drink and do mushrooms instead. I'm like, I don't know about that one. Like, it doesn't seem like I'm gonna stop smoking weed. I'll do some crack instead.
It sucks. All the federal jobs, you still got to get drug tested for weed.
Yeah,
Especially driving.
I know the bus drivers, they can't do shit. They can't. It's hard to find bus drivers these days because everybody's on drugs. Everybody's on weed. What about you? Are you on weed? Are you a pothead?
Can't do drugs and drive a bus, man. That's fucked up.
Hey, man.
I am on weed. Not currently, but I still smoke for sure.
Hell yeah.
You can't take that away from somebody. I don't know anybody who smoked a lot and enjoyed it and it was just like, you know what? I woke up one morning and was like, it's not for me. I had to quit.
I hear that a lot, though. In fact, somebody told me that I was going to make it big in comedy, but COVID fucked up my career.
Wait, they were talking about you or themselves?
They were talking about themselves, but I say that about me. Like, what happened to you? It was fucking COVID. I was about to put out a Netflix special and then COVID canceled it. I hear people
never
telling
thought
me,
of that.
huh?
COVID's a really awesome blanket excuse for a lot of things, I guess.
But you left before COVID. You just said fuck it. You left before it was cool to leave the Bay Area.
That reminded me. There's something else I wanted to ask you about. I remember that you used to only smoke weed and you would never drink or anything else except for mushrooms.
I don't drink. Yeah, I don't drink. I still don't drink.
But I do remember there was a period when you thought you might start drinking, and there was like a month or two when you would drink and smoke cigarettes.
Actually, I did find my brand. I forgot it, but I did find my brand. I used to drink wine coolers back in the day, and somebody gave me some liquor that tastes like wine coolers, and I thought I might as well get started up again. You know, I don't even got a license. I can be drunk. I can be drunk high all the time. I'm not driving. You know?
And even if you were, it's not that big of a deal.
I know. You gotta send me a couple of whips so I can whip a cop next time he tries to pull me over.
We'll do a trade. I'll mail you a whip if you mail me some delicious mushroom chocolate.
I can do that. I can do that.
Thank God nobody's listening to this podcast.
I get my hands on all that shit. I had some mushroom chocolates and I didn't realize I thought they were weed because I go to a sesh. They have raffles. You buy, and I won some stuff and I thought, oh, this has got to be weed. I ate it and it was mushrooms. And somebody kept looking at me like they thought I was on drugs. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know. Until later on, I figured out, yeah, I was doing mushrooms, yeah. And it doesn't even taste like it, huh?
I went to a Dead and Company show not too long ago, and I had never been to a show like that before. And so obviously, the first thing I wanted to do was check out Shakedown Street with you got all the vendors and stuff selling their tie-dye shit and their crystals for, doing yoga while you're listening to the Dead and stuff. And everywhere you turn, people are like, I got crystals, I got tie-dye, and then you walk a little bit closer to them and you walk past and they're like, and I got doses, I got mushrooms, I got Molly. And I'm like, oh, I see what kind of a place this is now. And then even one of the vendors had like an official permanent sign that said mushroom chocolate. And so I walked up, I was like, it couldn't be psilocybin mushrooms, if he's just got it that blatantly. There's like cops at every corner of this place. And so I was like, how are the mushroom chocolates? And he was like, oh, they're pretty good. You don't want to take more than 3 cubes. And I was like, well, I'll try one, and they were cheap too. So I was like, it couldn't be psilocybin. And I took some of them. I'll be goddamned if it wasn't psilocybin mushroom chocolate. I love that place. I should follow the Dead. I totally got it. I was like, I get why people follow the Dead.
You got to do it. This is their final tour. This year.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you going this year? I think.
I did. This was like a month ago.
Oh, yeah, I think they're coming in July. Actually, I went to a fish show, a Shoreline Amphitheater like 5 years ago. And yeah, my friend did you know Frosty Nugs? Did you know?
No. Yes.
Well,
not well though.
Yeah, he got arrested. They were like Google cops. There were cops riding Google bikes undercover. They drove up to him and said, "Hey, you got any mushrooms?" He's like, "No, I got some acid, right?" So he's like, "I'll take some acid." So they arrested him, and then, but we came up in a rented car. He rented a car, right? So I went to talk to the cop, and the cop's like, yeah, he was grabbing some chick's ass in the bathroom line. And I have seen him do that shit before, so I was like, I'm gonna let this shit go, right? But it's stupid because there's 2 different lines, right? You got men line, female line. So yeah, he spent the night, And like a year and a half up to that incident, I ran into somebody who was in jail with him. And the guy gave me 2 things of acid. I gave my friend one of them. He did it. He really liked it, and I did it too, and I liked it. But yeah, I mean,
Wait,
it's crazy.
in jail?
No, it wasn't jail, but he was in jail. He's not around anymore, Frosty. He
Yeah.
his
He's no longer of this earth.
his appendix exploded. His appendix.
What a way to go.
His appendix. I guess he went to Highland. No, he wasn't a Highland. I think. Oh, I don't know what hospital. He said his appendix was hurting, and they sent him home. A couple hours later, it exploded, and he died. You know.
God damn.
I know.
And that's no joke because I got turned away from Kaiser. I was double over in pain. They said, "Oh, you don't have your Kaiser account anymore." It used to be like you go in there and you paid $5 for a copay. I went into the emergency room, doubled over in pain. They refused to take me. My parents had to drive me to the county hospital. They were bringing me in on a gurney. And within 5 minutes of getting into the county hospital, they said, "Oh, you're going into surgery." I'm like, "What?" And so, yeah, that's ugly. And they said that literally as they were taking it out, it burst in their hand. They barely got it into the tray before it, like, popped. That's
I never knew that literally happened. I thought it was just like the organ shutting down.
No, it explodes and you die.
And there's poison in it. Like,
wow.
You go septic.
Yeah, if your left side of your stomach hurts a lot, you need to go to the ER and lie to them. Like, I don't know. I got Kaiser. Lie to them. I got Kaiser. They can't legally turn you away from the ER, can you?
They did.
I thought the law was they couldn't. Well, I know why they turn you away, but you should have gone to Stanford. That would have been really funny. Like,
telling you,
you got to go to Berkeley. We can't have you here, you hippie. You.
Telling you.
So, have you visited the Bay Area lately, or what was the last?
No, I haven't been to the Bay Area since I left. I missed it a lot. The closest I've come was the San Juan Islands in I don't know if it's Washington State or Oregon.
I thought you were in
islands. What's that?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like Puerto Rico or something.
No, that'd be cool though. But no, one of my friends was getting married, and it's these islands that are off the Pacific coast there, and it feels like California, and I really missed it. But no, I haven't gone to the Bay Area. If I go to the Bay Area, you'll know. I'll let you know. You're one of the few people who I spent a lot of time with in the comedy scene.
That reminds me. For whatever
reason.
That reminds me. I never got my wedding invite. Why didn't you invite me to your wedding?
Did I not invite you to my wedding? You just didn't get the invitation. That's had to be what it was.
You didn't invite me to your wedding. Talking about, we're friends. You never even invited me to your wedding.
You were
trying to get rid of us, huh? You were turning a new leaf, huh?
Obviously, you're my best friend.
You were turning a new leaf. Let me get rid of all this comedian scum.
50 people, and together, me and Emily have 49 important family members, and you're my best friend. But the bride gets to invite her best friend first, and then it was full. I couldn't. I could have been your best man or something. I could have been whipping. You could have done a quick 5 minutes before the show. I would have been whipping like your new father-in-law to keep him in line or something. If it's any consolation, I talked about you the whole wedding. My dad got married in San Francisco Bay on the boat. My dad got married on a boat. Where did you get married? Did you get married on the boat? Did you have your wedding on your little boat? And then married and then buried. No, it was in the Redwoods. It was in Oh, you went all out. The Redwoods, a little bit north of San Francisco. I don't even know the name of the town anymore. You follow the one for a little bit, and then you turn right, and then there's a really pretty redwood forest, and we got married out there. It sounds like a fond memory. You can't even remember where it was. It was a wedding. I was wasted all day long. You were wasted. Were you wearing like a Hawaiian shirt or something? Or yeah, I haven't changed since the wedding. You still have the same clothing. I bet you do. You should have gone with tie-dye or something. That would have been hella funny. My next wedding will be in tie-dye. Ever since the Denton Company show, all my wardrobe, except for what I have on, is tie-dye.
Yeah, I can't wait. I went to Levi Stadium a couple years ago to watch
Is that
them.
where it's going to be? Is that where they're going to play?
Yeah, I think so. I think, they always claim they sell out, but they always give out free tickets and stuff. Did you see what's his name there, the basketball player?
No.
What's his name? That tall white guy. I forgot his name. He's an old basketball.
I don't follow sports. You were asking me about sports.
Oh yeah, I asked you about Cooperstown. I said, "Are you near?"
Yeah, because I'm right by Cooperstown, but I never go to the Hall of Fame.
Have you been there?
Hell no! I told you that shit. I'm not interested in that bull ass shit.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess I'm. I can't say what I was gonna say. I'm just not interested in it.
Did you go to Bull Riding Hall of Fame or?
I got preemptively banned.
So what do you do for fun? Do you go cow tipping or?
No, usually I do. My wife takes me to stuff, and then there's a lot of stuff that you have to do with the kids. And my God, you have kids, right, Chris? Am I right? Or
I got like 6 kids.
Oh, okay, so it's just draining. You don't have any energy to do much that's fun. But I like going to music. There's a lot of cool music venues around here. And so me and my wife, sometimes her parents are near, they'll babysit and we'll go look at, some live music.
Because you're near Woodstock, aren't you?
Yes, but I've never gone there.
Oh, okay. So now, yeah, that's why Troy, New York sounds. Isn't that where Woodstock happened? It was nearby.
No, not at Troy. I don't know why Troy would sound familiar because of Woodstock. We're not far.
Have you ever been to the Ramble?
No, I've never heard of the Ramble.
The Ramble was started by the guy Leon Helm from the band, and it's up by Beresford, upstate New York, wherever Beresford is. Do you know where Beresford is?
I know. That's another one I haven't heard of.
That's funny. Yeah, and it happens like in the summer. It's like August or something, and they have multiple bands that go there.
Didn't Levon Helm have a ranch in California?
Yeah. Well, I know that he has a ranch in upstate New York, and that's where that is. But he also probably had one in California. The guy was rich.
Yeah.
But the one I'm thinking about is in your neck of the woods. And I know the one radio station that's local to you that used to promote it all the time is like WDST in Woodstock.
Yeah.
So
I guess you've been in that area.
No, I have a friend from upstate New York that lived up there for about 25 years. Patrick Carlin, George Carlin's older brother, lived in upstate New York.
I'm jealous because I wanted to live in a basement. I've never had a basement to live in.
Well, you're actually living in one right now, Chris. You're in the basement.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the basement now.
Right now, you're in the basement. What did you call it? Fentanyl Central?
Yeah, I always wonder why there's no basements in California. Like, we need to hide from our families too, Like, I need somewhere to hide from my family now.
You can't get away from your family in a basement. Trust me. The only reason I can get away with this is because nobody's even home. But if I'm down here, it's not but 5 minutes before my wife finds me, and then it's game over.
Sounds like it's not from the lack of trying.
So are you teaching these days, or didn't you get a teaching degree?
No, I'm switching careers. I was a teacher up until COVID, and even before that, teaching really sucked. I didn't like teaching very much. And then in California, teaching was okay. And then we moved to New York, and my credential didn't work in New York, but it worked in Vermont, and we're real close to Vermont. And so I taught there for 3 years, but it was in Bennington, and Bennington is just like a drug community. That's probably the real fentanyl capital of the United States. And so the students there, they just come from broken homes. And so they don't know how to behave right. And it was awful. And then you try to deal with their parents, to fix the problem. And their parents are even worse if you can get a hold of them. And there's like drug busts happening outside the school because the parents were dealing out there and stuff. And so it was not a good experience. And then COVID hit, and then they were like, "No, you gotta be at home all day long, but you still gotta be at work, and you gotta be on the computer." And I was like, "I can't do that." And so I left teaching, and by then my whip sales were increasing enough that we could get by. It's not ideal. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking for other blue collar jobs while I make whips. And
why didn't you just whip the parents? Didn't you?
whip what?
Why didn't you just whip the parents into shape? Anybody dealing drugs in front of the school gets a whipping.
Yeah, all it would take is one good example, and the rest of them would fall in line.
Like Batman Joe. Remember that show? Remember that movie, Batman Joe? The guy who became a principal in some high school in Philadelphia. You could have just whipped everybody. You could have just whipped them. Like you don't wanna read the book. I'm gonna whip your ass. You're gonna read the fucking book.
Oh! I thought you meant parents. I whip kids all the time.
Well, yeah, you can whip anybody. Damn it, the whips are whips. You should come back and be a security guard. You could be like at the Walgreens instead of having to kill somebody. You could just whip them if they're trying to rob the store.
Like Indiana Jones them
Yeah.
from walking out of the store.
Bam.
Just dressed like Indiana Jones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to break into this place. Whoop-ah!
So are you really doing well with your whip sales? I mean, are you selling a lot of whips?
Yeah, I've always got like 2 or 3 orders going. And last year I made $18,000, and that was the year when it just like started to pick up. And this year is already starting off really strong. And
Who do you sell the whips to?
He has a store on Etsy. So
Yeah.
how long does it take to make the average whip?
about, if I'm going to work like the whole day, it takes about an hour per foot of whip. And so really I could knock out, a whip in a day. But then I've got other stuff going on.
Do you give like whips, like when your friends are getting married, do you give them a whip as a
I've done that before. I give them as gifts sometimes.
A whip?
Or like if I make one and it doesn't turn out, the way the customer wanted it exactly, I put it for sale sometimes, or I'm just like, fuck it, I'll mail it to somebody.
So who buys these whips? Are they to whip people, or is this?
It is almost 100% Indiana Jones fan. I have
slave
had
owners, slave owners,
folks. What's that?
People with slaves. No,
Not anymore. Not these
drug dealers.
Here, let me throw up my disclaimer. Hold on.
Teachers. Who buys these whips?
Plus,
People with some Mormons with multiple wives.
You don't want a whip like this. You want something that's got lots of lashes coming out of there.
Hell yeah.
So it's almost all Indiana Jones fans. And I've had a couple of people who I didn't ask explicitly, but I bet they were doing it for sex stuff. And then I've had 2 customers that they were actually ranchers, and they were actually going to be using them to herd cattle. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Do you ask them what they want the whip for, or do you like, hey?
Not usually.
Do you do?
Sounds like they offer up the information pretty readily.
Do you like?
Yeah, it's mostly Indiana Jones folks, and they're like, "Can you make it look like it does in this scene?" And in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
So they got a fetish thing going on. Either way, they got some sort of whip fetish.
Yeah.
I want mine purple. I want mine purple.
He already knows what he wants.
I want purple. I'm gonna name him Miss Betsy or something. Miss Betsy's gonna whip your ass.
I made one that was black and silver, and I put a little Raiders logo on the heel nut.
That's always good.
Well, yeah, people love the Raiders. I don't know why I don't do that more. I bet I'd make a killing.
Yeah.
Raiders fans love shit that'll make noise, that'll hurt people, and they pay money for it, They're drunk.
Hell yeah. Do most people buy whips when they're drunk, or?
No, I speculate sometimes because I'll get an order and it's like at 2 a.m, and I'm like, I bet, and it's in the United States. I'm like, I bet this person was wasted when they placed this order.
Is there any laws? Can you sell them overseas or?
I can sell them overseas. In Germany, I had to apply for their importer database to make it legal to import to Germany. But I had to because I had a whip going to Germany.
Oh,
The
yeah.
only thing that I can't do is if I moved back to California, I would not be able to buy the leather that I need for whips.
Why not?
Because it's kangaroo, and for some reason you can't import kangaroo into California.
Well, you remember Andrew Roberts, right? I got a hookup.
Hell yeah.
Remember Andrew Roberts?
No.
Oh yeah, Andrew Roberts is a comedian. He's Australian. He moved back to Australia. So if you ever need some kangaroo leather, let me know. I can hook you up. But
Or
why
even
not
just a
human
dead
leather?
kangaroo.
Couldn't you just take human leather, human skin, and make a whip?
What leather?
Human. He said human. I'm like
You-
dying. I'm like, I need to make a disclaimer, Josh, just for the show. The comments made by the host on this show are not the comments of this studio whatsoever.
I've seen
It's
books.
funny you bring that up. Right here, we've got some beautiful human skin. Obviously, it's a white person.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen people use human skin for book coverings. So
Yeah. I forget why I've looked this up, but there are people who like donate their skin when they die, and they want it to be made into something leather for their kids or somebody. Can you believe receiving a gift like that?
when I die, I want to be made into a whip to whip a bunch of hookers on Mission Street. Whip a bunch of hookers.
When I die, dude, I want all of my bones that are big enough to be turned into pipes for all of my friends to smoke out of.
Hell yeah. You used to make your own beer, remember?
I still make wine. I make wine right now.
You make wine. Oh, you're all
Yeah.
sophisticated now.
That's right. Well, it's a lot easier. And when I moved, I got rid of the stuff you need for beer. But for wine, really all you need once you get the juice is just a tub or a big jug,
Do you step on
beer,
your
you
own grapes?
Gotta add hops and stuff every time.
Do you like step on your own grapes or?
No. Usually I buy grape juice. You can just buy it, like ready to ferment. Or I make honey wine. And so that's just straight honey, and then you mix it with water. But I planted 2 grapevines in my front yard, and the idea is maybe in 5 to 10 years, there'll be enough grapes to step on my own to make wine.
Yeah, I don't know how to make wine. I'm not Jesus. Don't look at me like that. I don't know how to make wine. I'm not.
But you know what? I never thought about this before, but I make wine. I am Jesus.
You are Jesus.
Wow, I never thank you, Chris.
You got wine. You got whips. Damn it. What are you doing in New York? You should be like in Vegas. You should be out selling whips in Vegas or something. Whipping people like on the strip. Like, give you $100, I'll whip your ass. Bang. I'm gonna have to whip somebody now. It's bad. When I was in Little League, my parents wouldn't let me have bats. They were afraid of me and my brother. They never thought about we could whip each other instead, Whips are part of the Bible too, aren't they? You could go religious, like Jesus talked about whipping somebody.
I'm not familiar enough with the Bible. I've never done any whip research that included looking at passages in the Bible.
You should like go into the history of whips. Whips were first started in 10,000 BC. Out there, Jesus was playing with a whip. He was whipping a horse.
And God made the kangaroo.
God
He
made
said, the kangaroo's skin is so strong, you shall maketh a whip for to whip your slaves with.
Is that why they use kangaroo skin? I mean,
Yeah, it's like the strongest. Like this is cow, and this is kangaroo. And if I get a sliver, that's like 5 millimeters wide, the
yeah.
cow just comes right apart. But the kangaroo, I couldn't do it. I couldn't break it if I tried.
But I want my kangaroo whip to come from a MILF. I want the skin to be like the stomach itself, right? That's the softest part of the kangaroo.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I never thought that they would use kangaroo. Did you try other stuff, or was kangaroo? Or you knew it was kangaroo?
It was a surprise to me when I found that out, but I found that out early on because there's a reason that it's kangaroo. It's definitely the best. And I have tried making whips with cow leather, and it's totally doable, but it's harder. It's a lot harder to work with if you're braiding, and then you got to worry about it breaking all the time, which it does. And so you can't get it tight. But like with kangaroo leather, when you're braiding, you can really pull as hard as you want to, and you don't got to worry about it breaking.
So you actually make the whip? Like, that's weird. It's weird. Do you like have to stretch out the leather for a while, or
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like so many things. That's why I love doing it, is because there's so many parts to it. It all starts. I might as well show you since I'm down here anyway.
Oh yeah,
it all
show me.
This right here is the handle. It's just a big nail spike, and then I file this end down because it usually has some kind of logo or something, and then I file this end smooth, and then I use the cow leather for like the core, and the core just attaches straight to here and runs down, and it's not braided. And then I'll get the kangaroo leather and I'll cut out something like this for like one of the inner strands or one of the inner layers. And so this part wraps around the handle, and then this part, is braided, obviously. And depending on what the customer wants, you've got a lot of braided layers on the inside. And then you finally get to the outside. And let's see, do I have one like that? This is hard to see, but this would be like what they call the overlay of a whip. It's a lot of different strands. And you see how thin they are. But like, I could pull as hard as I want to, and every once in a while they'll break, but they usually don't. And then that's basically it. How to make a whip in a nutshell.
I need one because
a lot of fun.
I
need one.
I need one. I'm scared. I'm scared of the audiences at comedy shows. In case somebody tries to throw some bottle at me or some water or beer, I need to whip somebody.
Yeah, that happens to you a lot. It would be worth it. Maybe I should.
It used to. It does happen to me. It hasn't happened to me in a couple of years. I haven't been assaulted on the stage in a couple of years.
Have you been toning it down or anything? Are you less offensive, or are you the same, or are you more offensive?
Because I hadn't done it for a while. I don't know. They didn't have a chance to whip me yet. They don't have a chance. I do stay. You know what? I do say stuff that's offensive, but you gotta try it out. You gotta try it out. Like, I do say stuff that's crazy. Like there were these two people in the front row. They were cousins, right? And somebody asked them, "Are you a couple?" They're like, "No, they're cousins, right?" So of course I said, I have one cousin I try to fuck. That's because I didn't have a sister. And then they groaned. They groaned. See, that's how you get them. You go from you go from something really offensive to something even more offensive. See, that's comedy.
I didn't laugh, but it was very funny.
I was holding back the tears.
I did really well. I was surprised. I was surprised I did really well and stuff, because I'm not supposed to do that well. They give these they give most people on the show 10. I only get 5 minutes, but I'm there every week. But I'm not supposed to be the best one, but I was the best one last Friday. I got video, but it doesn't sound as well. Like I have I'm not saying I'm a comedy genius, but I mean, I'm like the best whipper in the comedy business.
And you're
I use
super
my
experienced.
dick. Huh?
You're very experienced. That counts for something. As long as I can hear that you're making jokes, I'd love to see those videos.
I'll
It doesn't
send you
matter
the
what the
video.
quality is not, 'cause I know what you sound like.
Well, comedy, part of being a comedian is knowing how the audience sees you. You see how you see yourself is different from how they see you, I
Yeah.
think I'm the greatest person ever. They see me as some fat dude with a fat ass, who smokes a lot of weed.
You still smoke weed on stage?
I would if I could, but no, I don't. I would do it if I could, yeah.
I remember doing open mics with you, and like sometimes people would just get so mad at you, and like I could understand it because I've been very mad at you before, but like sometimes I couldn't understand it. It's like, and it was other comedians. When other comedians would get mad at you, I'm like, what are you getting mad at him for?
You got mad at me in Austin, remember? You got mad at me during our trip.
Yep. That's what I was thinking of when I said I got mad at you, because you were talking about my mom, and you just made my car smell like shit. So I was just in a bad mood.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything about your mom. What did I say about your mom? I don't talk about people's moms anymore. I draw the line.
Is it because I hit you? Is that why you don't anymore?
Maybe.
I also remember driving past when we were in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Driving past these teenage kids dancing like on the sidewalk, and you roll down the window and you go, "Faggots!" And I don't condone yelling faggots at somebody, but I couldn't stop laughing when you did that.
Hey, the next day it was on the news. Some alien was yelling at kids, calling them faggots.
Yeah, and they both committed suicide.
No, I think it was the alien that killed them. They didn't commit suicide. I think the alien put something in their head or something.
I think if no one knows Chris or doesn't understand Chris, I'll probably encapsulate it this way. If there's a filter or something to be broken or a line to be crossed, he will be the first one to jump over that line.
Yeah.
And when you started saying that, even when you were saying, oh, there were so many times where people got mad at him, we talked about it in a couple shows where people had thrown things at him. And I was there at what was Neck of the Woods, I think back then. Wasn't it Neck of the Woods?
It was Neck of the Woods.
Yeah. And somebody threw a beer bottle because he was calling out an interracial couple in the front row. And the woman broke a bottle and chucked it at him.
Oh man, holy shit. Broken beer bottle.
And so it cut his leg. I remember.
It cut my leg.
Holy shit.
But he kept going.
I was gonna say, what did you do when that happened?
Yeah, he just kept going, and the guy dragged the girl away, and somebody else grabbed the girl too and got her out of it.
Well,
She was too drunk.
I was bleeding, but some woman
Did
just...
you acknowledge it? Did you say anything about it?
Yeah, some woman came up to me and sucked the blood off my leg, like, saying it's sacred. My blood is sacred.
Yeah, the vampires in San Francisco.
Yeah, she must have weighed like 300 pounds. She was a big woman, and yeah, I think I said, hey, the guy was white. He was a white dude, and I think I might have said, hey, so I might have mentioned like, hey, how you feel about that? And then next thing I know, I had a bottle coming my way. But that wasn't the only incident at Neck of the Woods. I had a chair thrown at me there too. So, I mean, comedy's hard. The thing about it is,
get slapped and like people throw water in your face and beer in your
the one
face.
I didn't know he said during the show, which threw Somebody threw a chair at you?
Somebody threw a chair at me.
That's messed up.
There were these 3 Irish dudes with a white girl, and I'm like, so which one of you is banging her, you know? And then the guy who was banging her through and the chair hit the mic stand and knocked it down. I swear this thing was coming right at me. And you know, me and Dave was complaining like, I didn't even get my 5 minutes because you had to have a chair thrown at you. Bitch, I had thrown a chair at me. Shut the fuck up. Like the 5 minutes was going to do anything for you anyway.
His best answer for that, Josh, was he said, which one of you is banging? And he goes, he found out which one was banging her by who threw the chair.
Yeah. That's a crazy story because
man. Oh, that's funny.
there was a comedian who brought his daughter and she was like laughing at all my jokes. So, of course, I kept going, you know. I kept going with the jokes, and the next thing I know, I had a chair thrown at me. It's no excuse, but yeah, it was crazy. Like, but you know, the security did nothing about it because nothing happened. They just like stood there looking around, like, you know. That won't happen now. I heard that neck of the woods is actually owned by Stroy Moy now.
Really?
Yeah, somebody told me he bought it or something. So comedy does pay. One day you could buy the club that Chris almost died in twice, you know. One from bleeding, one from a chair thrown at you. It looks like Josh is frozen. Are you there, Josh?
Yeah, Josh. He's there. I saw him blink. Blink more times if you're being held captive.
He looks frozen. I'm like, is Josh frozen?
No, he's like me. He's waiting for the disclaimer to come up so he doesn't get sued or canceled. Go ahead, Chris.
Disclaimer.
I was interested. I get that way when I'm listening, you know. I usually I get real still, I guess. People comment on that sometimes.
Like, yeah.
You did look frozen for a second. I was like, oh wait, then he blinked. I'm like, okay, he's still there.
So can people use crypto to buy your whips?
What about my whips?
Crypto? Can you use crypto to buy?
Do you take crypto?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It doesn't matter. All I know is people have their own choices on how to pay. You know, I seldom am interacting with the person directly on how to pay me because it just goes through Etsy. And so any regular payment method works. And I've never been, you know, gypped out of any money. So I'm assuming that it all works good.
Right. But he's wondering if you've actually taken like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency.
Not that I know of. I don't know if it would show is any different. Does Bitcoin show up differently if somebody
somebody would actually offer it to you, and it's usually in denominations like what is the retail for one of your whips? Somewhere around $200 to $300 for like entry level whip.
It's like $350.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, if somebody like I don't even know what Bitcoin's now that the whole what is it called NFT market has collapsed. I still think crypto like Bitcoin is still worth a lot of money per coin.
But you're a man. What are you doing on Etsy? Shouldn't you be on something more manliness like the Wrangler tour or some Wrangler website? Shouldn't you find something more for like
Etsy,
cowboys or?
Etsy's pretty sweet. There's dudes on there that sell Batman Ninja Stars, so there's that. But then also, I did start my own website one time, and I called it American Bullwhips, and I was really proud of that, and it looked really nice too. But I just wasn't getting enough traffic, and all the while I was still getting sales through Etsy, and so after a year, the I guess contract for that website expired, and I just didn't renew it because Etsy works. It works really well.
You gotta call it. You gotta have a better name like Chinese Bullwhip. You know, American Bullwhip doesn't sound like just like I'm gonna whip the shit out of you.com. Whipsomebitches.com, you know. You gotta give it a cool name. You gotta find some better site. Etsy. Etsy sounds like you're selling shit to girls. Huh?
This is a front for drugdeals.com. I bet I get a lot of sales that way.
Hey, dude.
What, you thought you were gonna get drugs with this? No, you ordered a whip, dude.
Didn't we buy a samurai sword? Didn't you like? Didn't I go?
Yeah, we went to Chinatown and bought a samurai sword.
Yeah, I was with you.
I remember why. It was way back when I first moved out there, and I was a bright-eyed kid. My whole future was ahead of me, and I went to an open mic, and you were my mentor. And I saw, who did I see on stage but Cristiano?
Cristiano, yeah.
Who that woman. And so I said, Chris, where can I get a samurai sword? I've got to woo this woman. And you were like, we're going to Chinatown, dude.
Do you still got it? You still got the samurai sword?
No, not that one. I've upgraded. That was a cheap Chinatown one, and I just gave it to somebody when I moved. But when we moved here, I got like an authentic samurai sword. Not authentic, because it's not folded steel, but it's like super high quality AUS 8. You got to look that steel up. It's good steel. And so it's like a legitimate samurai sword that I got.
It's American bullwhip. American bullwhip.
So sometimes
shout out your brand, because we've probably got about 15 more minutes left in the show, and I want you to shout it out a couple times. How do we get to your Etsy stuff and anything else that you're doing?
You guys got to go to Etsy and check out catchallcrafts.com. And
Catch
or
what?
just type in bullwhips when you're on Etsy, because like I'm top tier when it comes to Etsy. But Catch All Crafts is the place to go.
Catch on crafts.
No, not catch all crabs.
I want to catch no crabs.
I got to make some changes right now. I didn't think it could be misconstrued.
You got to come up with a cool ass name if you want to. What would be a good name for this? Like,
why don't you give me one? Because I thought American Bullwhips was pretty fucking good. And then Catch All
whipthembitches.com.
So the reason I think you're right with that is because that's what everybody's calling it, right? So that's the trending word. It's an American bullwhip. They're looking for the Indiana Jones. And if you try to do anything Indiana Jones, you're going to get sued for
Mexican bullwhip.
Yeah.
Right?
The Mexican bullwhip. How about Indies?
Like Indie Independent Bullwhip Company or something.
Or
I don't know.
Indies Whippets. Call it Indies.
Like when I'm talking to people, I got to call it Indiana Jones style. I can't say it's an Indiana Jones bullwhip because there is a company that owns that trademark.
So you got a promotional thing with a new movie? Like you got some kind of commercial because of the new movie? Or?
God damn. What a great idea. The theaters, the movie theaters, you can buy like screen time. I got to do that.
You should just like get in the front of the movie while people are watching and pull out the whip and like, I got some whip for you, son. $3.50. You can go home with your now American bullwhip, bitches.
But what I can for sure do is I can go see the movie and then I can write it off on my taxes as research.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, baby.
There's one scene in the movie where it might derail your business, though, because there's one scene, I saw the preview. He's got the whip, and then people pull out guns and shoot him. So whips aren't that good after all,
Well, they're still cool.
They're still cool.
I still guns, too, by the way. I don't know if I told you that. That's a little bit more down low.
I want you to paint my whip red, white, and blue with a bunch of stars at the end. I want you to go all American with my whips.
All natural?
I want my whips to be like MILFs. I want MILF kangaroo. Only female kangaroo. I'm not sexist, but I want all my leather to be female kangaroo.
That's a bad choice.
I want male kangaroo.
He changed. I want male kangaroo.
I never realized you got to use leather from kangaroos. Like, I might go protest now,
Well, the cuter the animal, the better it is. for killing, for any reason.
That's what they say. Do you go hunting or are you a hunter?
As far as the quality of like the strength of the leather, it doesn't matter male or female, but if you get a whip made from a female kangaroo, I feel like she would just be complaining the whole time, or like you would start to whip something and then she'd change her mind. Every month you'd have to clean it.
Well, you got to name the kangaroo, right? You just can't. If you got to sell the kangaroo, you're like, this is female kangaroo, you got to pay double. I go to Australia every year, I pick out the kangaroos to make into your whips. What's up with
When
that?
I order kangaroo leather, I should ask them to send me pictures of the kangaroo when it was alive, just so I can see what exactly is going on.
How much is the kangaroo leather? Like, does it come in a boat, or how much is it to buy the leather?
It's like $15 per square foot.
I can't imagine you making a whip. You gotta videotape. You gotta videotape yourself doing it. Because
I do. I've got some videos of me doing it.
I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen any of your videos. So
I'll post them up. I've got some on Facebook, but I didn't post them in like the general public. I posted them to like whip makers.
I thought you sold whips, but I thought it was a joke. I didn't. I think I saw you a while back talking about it, but I thought he's just fucking with us, right? What the fuck?
I'm not doing comedy. I'm a super successful comedian, and I get online and I make jokes about teaching.
I trade whips for stage time. Like, you should whip somebody, you know. Next time Dave Chappelle comes to town, you should just whip him. Get famous like that. Male whip Dave Chappelle. Frustrated comedian whips Dave Chappelle in Troy, New York. That'd be hilarious. You whip Chris Rock. Don't whip Chris Rock maybe, but there's a couple people you're not allowed to whip, you know.
Well, I would imagine that Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle would be a couple of those that I'm not allowed to whip, right?
Maybe just whip white people. Just whip white people. Don't whip any minorities. Stay away from minorities.
Obviously, I can't just go around whipping black comedians.
I know.
But I can whip white comedians, and I want the audience to get that it's like a call to the slavery days. And so I guess what I would have to do is get some white comedians and make them up so that they looked black.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, how far? That's right. Just don't have them in blackface. Don't have them in blackface. That's
just
wrong.
Whisper, disclaimer.
Just have them put on a mask. As long as they got like an OJ mask, they'll be fine.
That's right. Send your hate mail to Josh Ellis, care of the station.
Send your hate mail to Catch-All Crafts on Etsy.com.
Etsy. American bullwhip, not Chinese bullwhip, but should it be Australian bullwhip because the leather comes from Australia. American bullwhip from Australia. Maybe Australia.
I did have a website that was Chinese bullwhips for a while, and I made a different style of bullwhip where it was open on both ends, and you stick your fingers in, and then you can't get your fingers back out. Huh?
Oh, jeez.
That's pretty funny. You could sell those in Chinatown. Those are pretty trippy.
So you've been invaded.
Fine. You gotta stay over there, okay?
Are you got invaded?
Yeah, you got invaded.
So where can we find you, Josh? Josh Ellis Facebook. What's your Facebook?
Well, it's my name. It's Josh. And then there's an Ellis after that. Josh Ellis.
Are you related to the Ellis Island person?
I'm related to every Ellis that you've ever heard of. There's like an Ellis Medical Center. There's Ellis Island. There's or anything that sounds like Ellis.
American Bullwhip. Get Your Bullwhip by Josh Ellis. 30 years from now, this bullwhip was made by Josh Ellis. It's worth a lot more money than the regular bullwhips.
That's right, y'all. You know, I gotta say, back to the whips, obviously it's not a huge community of whip makers, and then there are some really high-tier whip makers, but I would say that of all the whip makers in the world, I'm within the top 10 of Indiana Jones-style bullwhip.
I just want to say, the Junkyard Rat does not condone whipping any minorities or women, but if you want to whip white dudes, you should get your whips from, what's your name again?
Catch-All Crafts. That's right. We don't condone whipping anybody except for white folks because we got it coming. And if you feel the need...
As long as you want to whip white people, then buy your whip at Catch-All Crafts at ST. But don't whip any minorities. Don't whip any pets. Don't whip anybody who's not white. But if they're white, don't whip any white females. If you want to whip a bunch of white males, I condone it, but not only white males. And not if they're doing drugs. Those people are protected.
That would fly. If you said that on, national television, that would fly. I condone whipping white males.
White males only.
Anything else?
So are you gonna get a podcast, or you should get a podcast? You seem like you could be on. You look like you belong doing the weather on the news. You look like a weather.
Chris.
You look like you.
There was like some kind of rustling with the microphone. I couldn't hear what you just said.
Sorry, I just bumped into it. Sorry about that.
You should do the weather. You look like a weather person. You could be the weatherman.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I'll be the weatherman.
You are funny. I mean, you always look like you should have a TV show. You could have been a host or something.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah.
I did recently apply for a couple of part-time anchor jobs on the local news.
Oh, yeah?
They wanted my Facebook handle, and so I made a couple of quick videos, like in this same spot, of just like me blah blah blahing about shit, and made sure that they were like the top couple of videos on my Facebook feed. And as proud as I am to hear you say that I would look good doing that, I haven't heard back from any of those folks.
Well, you didn't whip them enough,
That's the next step.
Anytime.
I already thought of that. Trust me.
Anytime they want a video, the first thing you do is you bring out your whip. Bam! I'm like, you better hire me.
Chris,
I'm Bullwhip Josh. Bullwhip Josh. That should be your name. Bullwhip Josh. Bullwhip Josh coming at you. I got some used cars for sale. I got some whips for sale. Anything you need, I got it all.
Come on now!
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That reminds me of something else I wanted to bring up. I hate to do this, but I had better go soon. But Sweet Gail, is she still anywhere to be found, or what?
That's a great question. Last time I heard, she was in a convalescent home or assisted care facility because she was having problems with her legs.
Oh wow!
And that was a couple of years back, at least.
Yeah.
But nothing that a couple of whips from Bullwhip Josh couldn't whip her up her legs. Her legs are dying, but if you whipped her legs a couple times, I bet you could get that circulation going.
If I ever lose my legs, I'll use whips when I'm in my wheelchair, just like whip a hold of something and then use it to pull me along.
Oh, yeah. How many whips do you got? Do you have like a bunch of whips in your house?
Well, not, I guess, as many as you might expect. I've got probably 5, but I've made over 200 now.
Now, is there an age that your kids gotta be before you give them their first whip for their birthday? When they turn 16, do you give them a whip or no? 18.
He's got a little bit of while to think. His kids are way younger than that.
21. When they turn 21, you'll give them whips. Like, forget your driver's license. I'm gonna give you a whip instead.
When we'll see what things are like when they're older, if I even need to answer a question like that.
Are you gonna push the family business on them? Is there one of your kids that are like, that one is into whips?
My oldest daughter, I do make her like sweep up and stuff downstairs because I can claim her as an employee if I do that. And
I think I hear.
There you go.
Yeah,
Somebody needs a break.
I don't like that I'm talking about her.
Yeah. So does it snow where you live?
A lot. It snows an awful lot where we live. That's pretty sweet. I love that.
You love snow.
Yeah. I love the cold. The snow is pretty cold, but like when it gets really cold, like sometimes it'll get like 20 below, and that's rare, but it happens, and I like that a lot. That's really cool.
Do you whip the mailman for not bringing your shit on time? Bam! I know it's snowing out there.
He has to deliver my shit for me.
Fuck yeah.
I don't like the mailman.
If it don't whip, it don't walk. Okay, we're a wrap. Thank you, Josh Ellis. Crafts by the American Bullwhip. Why American? Why can't it just be like International Bullwhip?
That's right. And check them out at Catchall Crafts on Etsy.com. And Chris, I got to say, I thought I would hate this. I had a long list of complaints to be yelling at you for being on this podcast. But then when you told me you would give me a free trip to Chile with you in October, I couldn't turn it down.
Yeah, I'm down. Come down. I got a lot of relatives that need some whipping in Chile.
Good.
They're
probably
I got a couple of cousins that need to be whipped and stuff. I got my brother and he's a little whipping and stuff. Thank you for being on.
Down in Chile. Oh yeah, thank you.
Bye. See you next week.
Yeah, see you next time, Chris.
Come back,
Bye-bye.
Josh.